So I'm going to take you guys through on how to set up a GPA calculator. We're going to start with an blank Excel workbook. Remember, the whole file is called a workbook. Individual sheets are called worksheets. So here's what it looks like. I'm going to zoom in nice and big for you guys, and because I know this is complicated. But we're just going to call this GPA calculator. All right. And then we're going to have the class here. And then we're going to have our average, or our percentage. And then we're going to have the grade and the value. Alrighty. Remember, we can adjust the width of these cells to fit the words by clicking and dragging, or we can just double click it and it'll automatically auto-fit the word. Okay, I'm going to merge these cells so it's nice. And I'm just going to use my class schedule. I start out with BSA. This will be different for all of you guys. Then I go to DIT, planning, DIT again, AOT, and then DIT. Alrighty. I'm going to make these grid lines to fancify it a little bit. Okay, and then you're going to just type in your percentage. I don't know. I'm a pretty smart guy, so I like to think that I've got good grades. But I do screw up from time to time. And I do have some challenging classes. So those are my grades. I need to make a grade value system so that Excel knows what to compare against. So the lowest grade for an F is a 0. Call it F. And the value of an F is a 0. Correct? Correct. All right. Lowest for a D is a 59.5. It's a D, and that has a value of 1 when it comes to GPA. 69.5 is the lowest C possible, and that has a value of 2. Although these scores really don't have any value to me, per se, but you do get something for them. That's a B, has a value of 3, and then the lowest grade for an A is an 89.5 A, and that has a value of 4. Now this is just basic GPA stuff, all right? This is not taken into account honors or AP classes or anything like that. But this is percentage, this is grade, and this is value. Auto fit it because percentage is a big word. I'm going to give it some borders. All right, now here's where it gets tricky. This is where we're going to do the VLOOKUP. All right, so VLOOKUP is in formulas, insert function. VLOOKUP is already there. You might have to type it in up here. VLOOKUP, go. There it is. We open up that function, and it's going to ask us what value do we want to look up. Well, we always want to look up our grade value. Do not type in the number because the number will be going up and down throughout the year based on how well you do. Okay, but the value is always going to be in this cell, B3. So that's why we click on it. Then it's going to ask you for the table. So we're going to highlight the table. All right, and we're going to autofill down, and we want this to stay the same. So we're going to put it in some absolute references. We talked about this today in class. And then the column index number. Which number do we want it to spit out? We're in the grade column, so we want the grade column. That's 1, 2, 3. That's the second column. We're going to put it in 2, and it spits it out for us. Okay. Now we can autofill this down by clicking the little box in the bottom right-hand corner. You see the mouse change, and it spits it out for us. Notice we can only do that because we put in the absolute references so that the table does not change as you autofill it, but the values, the value that we're looking up changes based on what cell we're in, which is great. That's what we want it to do. We did not put an absolute reference on it. We want to do the same thing for value. So we're going to go to insert function. VLOOKUP is there because we just used it. we're going to look up the same number. Okay, we're going to use the same table to look it up. We still want it to stay the same. We don't want it to change as we autofill down. So we're going to put in our absolute references. We put in a dollar sign before the column letter, which is A and C, so that the column doesn't change if we were to drag it left and right. Or, and we also put it in front of the number, the row sign, the row number, because we don't want it to change based on dragging it up or up or down. Column index number. Now we're in the value column, so we want it to spit out the value number, and that is column 3. Okay, and again we're going to autofill it down. Now we want to see what our total GPA is, right? So we need to come up with a total of this. So I'm going to type in total here. And an easy function to add up all that stuff is called the AutoSum function. We can just click on it. It does everything for us. Okay, we can type this in by hand because we know how to do that. But why do that if it's faster to just hit AutoSum? It guessed it right for us. So we hit enter and the total is 26. Okay, now we want to know what is our grand scheme GPA. I'm going to put it up here. I know I could put it down here, but I don't want to, for whatever reason. But this is going to bother me if that's not bordered in, so I'm going to border it in. Okay, so what's our GPA? How do you calculate GPA? You take your total value of the grades that you've gotten, and that total is here. So all we're going to do is hit the equal sign in the cell that we want it to go into. We're going to click here. We're not going to type 26 because, again, that's going to go up and down based on how well we're doing over the year. But the cell that it totals into will not change. So we're going to choose the cell. We're going to divide by the total number of classes, which is 7, and there's our GPA. Okay, something I did not show you guys in class, but I'm going to show you guys tomorrow before we do some typing, is we can increase and decrease decimal. Okay, we can add more decimal places, or we can subtract decimal places. Generally, I like it by 2 places, a 3.71. All right, and I asked you guys to make this nice, so you guys can put colors. Okay, I'm going to have this be like a dark gray. I don't want the letters to really pop out, so I'm going to make it like a, I guess they don't really pop out, huh? Close enough. Okay, 3.71 GPA. I'm going to put a border on it, because I like borders. I can barely see it. It's okay, but if you have any questions about it, just rewind, pause, do it, practice with it. Again, the more you practice with Excel, the more comfortable you'll get. It's difficult at first. It's like learning a new language, but then it catches on pretty quickly. All right, make sure you save it. Save as into our AOT folder. We're going to call this the GPA Calculator. I already have one saved. I'm just going to save over it. Alrighty.